Can't get any worse. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast. How are we all today? I trust we're doing well. Welcome to the UFC 316 breakdown. We're here again. If this is your first UFC breakdown that you've come to this podcast for, welcome aboard. Are you sitting there thinking, hey, is this guy some sort of professional UFC, what's the word? Professional. See, that is a clear explanation of how this podcast is going to go. I couldn't even remember the word professional. That is because I am the least professional podcaster in the game, but for some reason, a handful of people come back and keep listening to me every week. But welcome aboard, everyone. We are going to touch on every single fight on this card, from the early prelims to the main event, and everything in between, you know what I mean? And then we are going to finish it off with our Can't Get Any Worse UFC multi for the week, voted on by you guys on Instagram. So appreciate everyone getting behind that. This one, and I suppose it's just a natural thing, the one just gone that I put up the poll for yesterday, that has been our highest voted poll that we've done for UFC breakdowns. So it's good to see not only you guys, the listeners, getting behind this, but now the people on socials and stuff like that, where I've said on our normal Tuesday episodes where we've slowly had a bit of growth there as well over the last 6 months or so. So let's stop banging on about that. That's what the Tuesday episodes are for. Let's rip into some breaking news and shit like that has happened since the last time that I've sat in here and done a UFC breakdown with you guys. So let's just start with the big one from yesterday, okay? There was a UFC fight night. It was Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber. Now, these two have had a little bit of a rivalry for a little while, okay? Now, if we had to pick, and look, I've said it on here before, I don't like doing this. I don't like saying this about female fighters, but I'm a man. I'm a cold-blooded man at the end of the day. If there are two chicks in the UFC at the moment that could take the cake of two of the hottest chicks in the UFC, it's probably these two. So was there a little bit of excitement watching these two step in the cage and just bang the fuck out of each other for 25 minutes and me sit on the couch and pretend they're fighting over my love? 100%. Now, that's where things got a little bit pear-shaped, okay? I've edged myself all the way through all the guys' fights, through all the other fights, and all of a sudden, 6 minutes before the main event starts, this is how close the fight was to happening. Everyone who watches the UFC knows that they play a video montage just before the walkouts of the main event. They played that montage, and then instead of going down to where the fighters walk out, it just went to the commentary table. And they announced that Maycee Barber had a seizure backstage. So the doctors didn't give her medical clearance to fight, which is 100% fair enough. If someone's had a seizure seconds before they're about to go and embark on a cage fight, pull that fucking fight. There is no way in hell that should go forward, you know? However, I thought this was a common acceptance from everyone, but it would appear that Erin Blanchfield was of the other state of mind, and I get it. She's had a full training camp leading up to this. They've had that rivalry. They've had the harsh words said to each other. She's ready to fight, okay? She goes to the post-fight press conference and basically calls Maycee Barber a pussy for not coming and fighting. I forget her exact wording. I probably should have got it, but as I said at the start of the podcast, this is not about being professional. This is just a bit of fun. Imagine being at the pub with your mates talking the UFC. That's what this shit is. And a couple of picks that will definitely not get across the line, but we will get to that. The other couple of things I had to touch on, UFC Noche, I think that's how you say it, but it's like the Mexican Independence Day card that they do. Last year it was at the Sphere, and I still stand by it was one of the coolest spectacles I'd seen in sport, okay? It even won a couple of, I think it's Emmys or something recently. So Dana in the UFC absolutely fucking killed that card. So I would have expected, and look, Dana said when he put that on, he's like, this is a one-time thing. But it just makes it hard to top, okay? So they've announced UFC Noche for this year, and it's going to be in San Antonio, Texas. How do you come off the back of that and try and top it? And I suppose they're probably not going to try and top it. They're just going to go back to what it was like the year before. Like they've done the big spectacle thing. So now they're like, let's just put on a banger card full of Mexican fighters, and that can be the spectacle. But I'm intrigued to see, because I think deep down Dana still wants to do something cool. Like he likes to outclass himself, if that makes sense. He likes to go bigger and better with everything he does. And I just think he's going to have something up his sleeve that is going to make it somehow cool in Texas. Another thing that's happened, yesterday's fight card was the first time that this had happened. And look, I'm pretty keen on this idea. When I first read it on Instagram, it popped up and I was scrolling and I was like, I saw it and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But now that I've had time to like let it sink in, the UFC has announced that anyone that is making their debut fight in the UFC will now get a special little patch on their shorts that says UFC debut. Once the fight is done, that patch will get pulled off their shorts and it will be put on a one-of-one official trading card of their like rookie card, if that makes sense. So that's pretty cool because, as I said, I think I've said it a couple of times on the podcast, you guys know my brain. I want to get into collecting like UFC trading cards, but I know as soon as I get my first pack, I'll be wasting my entire paycheck at fucking on the line buying every UFC card pack you can get. But I thought that was cool. Let me know what you guys reckon down in the comments. You can leave this is actually a cool thing. You can leave comments in Spotify now. And I actually got a comment on Spotify a couple of weeks ago. I was meant to shout it out on the pod, but completely slipped my mind. So not only YouTube listeners and shit like that, now Spotify listeners can leave me comments. So if you're listening to this, jump on your Spotify, leave me a little comment in there. Tell me how shit I am at picking UFC fights. And the last thing before we rip into the UFC 316 card, couple of big fight announcements that I just had to touch on because they've got me excited. So the first one, our Aussie boy Robert Whittaker is back in the ring up against Derrida. Now, Derrida had a mad fight last time he was out. Looked like an absolute weapon. I would not want to be in the cage there with him. But Bobby Knuckles put his hand up. He goes, feed me this young beast. I'm going to make one last run at the title and let's see how we go. So Whittaker's come out. He said that. He goes, this is my last run. If I lose, that's probably it for me. So, God, I would love to see Robert Whittaker with the title around his waist again and just retire on top, wife and kids in the cage. One of the first big Aussie fighters to really pioneer Australia in the UFC, you know? Like there was a few people at that stage, Mark Hunt, all those people, but Bobby Knuckles, like first big Aussie name and just still be in there with these young lions throwing down. So fingers crossed he can get the win and just another win after that, potentially title shot. I fucking hope because he's getting old as well, which is sad to see. If he goes in and gets knocked out again, it's going to be a sad day to be a UFC fan. But let's rip into a couple of, they're not even young anymore. I was about to say young lions, but these guys are starting to get pretty old as well. UFC 319 has been announced. And I'll announce the fighters and then I'll announce where it is, which took me by surprise, okay? We have Plessis up against Chimaev. Now, Chimaev is the boogeyman of the UFC. Nobody wants to face him. He is this scary Russian cat who will pick up people in the fight and walk over to the commentary table and just like yell at Dana White. He is an absolute weapon. So he is now finally getting his title shot. And a lot of people are saying it's long overdue. And then you've got the other flip of the coin. A lot of people are saying other people in the division should have got it ahead of him, which I don't know. I'm keen to see him fight for the title. He has had that much hype behind him since he's been in the UFC, and well deserved. Don't get me wrong. Like the dude is a weapon, a beast. I've used weapon too many times. I need to use other describing words. So yeah, I'm keen to see him fight for the title. Now the thing that I was saying before, it's in Chicago, which took me by surprise because there has been this big thing about Chimaev since he's been in the UFC that he can only fight in the Middle East, okay? And a lot of people are pretty sure that's because he's got like visa restrictions or something like that. He has some sort of history that doesn't allow him to travel to the States. I'm not going to throw allegations out. I don't know what the guy's done. I'm just going off what I've heard around the water cooler, okay? They can't get any worse water cooler. So here's a little side bet for you guys. Will this fight go ahead? Because up until now, I should have done research on this as well, but I do not recall a fight that Chimaev has had in the States because he made his big launch during COVID, okay? And that's when they did Fight Island, all that sort of stuff. It was over in Dubai, and he was just racking up the wins there, and now he fights like once a year still over in the Middle East. So I don't know. We'll see if that goes ahead, but that will be an absolute banger of a fight if it does go ahead. I'm keen to see that. And UFC 317 got announced fresh off the back of the last pay-per-view because they were waiting to see who won that one and where everything landed. So, main event, we have Topuria versus Oliveira. That is going to be an absolute kick-ass fight. I'm so keen for that. Topuria is going up a weight class, trying his luck up there and seeing if he can get a title in a second weight division. So, I don't know. I've said it before. Topuria seems to be like the most all-rounded mixed martial artist we've seen in a number of years. So if there's anyone that can probably do it, it's probably him. But on the back of that, Oliveira, one of my favorite fighters to watch. And I hated him for a while. I hated him for a little while, and I just had to jump on the bandwagon once he like went blonde hair Oliveira. That's when I got back on board. So that's that. And then the co-main. Here we go. We've got Pantoja versus New Zealand's Kara France. Are we going to get another Anzac champion? Would it be insane? 3 of the championship belts around 3 fighters from Australia and New Zealand. Holy shit. And then, get this right, Bobby Knuckles gets his win, goes next fights for the title, 4 champions in this area of the world. That would be absolutely insane. But yeah, fingers crossed for Kara France. Hopefully he can win is that the bantamweight division? I think it is, but don't quote me. But let's rip into what we're all here for. UFC 316 card. Let me take a little sip of my water before we rip right in. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, first fight is one that I am keen as fuck to watch. On the early prelims, we have a lightweight fight. We have Australia's Killian I fuck this guy's name up every time I say it. And every time before the podcast, I'm like, I should watch like a YouTube pronunciation on his name. But we've got Killian Salkild versus Yanal Ashmuz. So Killian's the Australian fighter, and I think this is his UFC debut. I'm not too sure. I think the only time we've seen him in the UFC cage before was for Dana White's Contender Series, where he obviously racked up a win and he's earned this shot. So keen as to see what he can do in the bright lights. His opponent, he looks pretty well all-rounded, but there's no point breaking this fight down anymore. I'm going the Aussie. I'm going Killian at $1.24, which not amazing odds, guys. But if you want to make them a little bit juicier, I'm going to blow this load straight off the bat, okay? It is very hard to pick any underdogs in this card. Now, anyone that regularly watches my UFC breakdowns, I'm a fiend for an underdog, okay? I will pick an underdog if I hear rumors of the opponent having a little bit of a sniffle that day. I'll go, oh my God, pick the dog. He's going to win. And 9 times out of 10, it's wrong, okay? But that one time we get it, oh boy, I will never let you hear the end of it. But on this card, very hard to pick an underdog, okay? So I've pretty well gone every single favorite. So what I've done is on a couple of fights where I'm feeling sneakily confident, I've given a by way of just like a decision on how the fight's going to end, if that makes sense, like KO submission decision. Okay, I don't know why I just struggled to get that out so much. So yeah, I'm going Killian by KO. I haven't got odds for any of the finishes. Okay, so if you're feeling juicy, go Killian by KO. Then we go to featherweight division. We have Jekka Saraga versus Jusang Yu. Again, my pronunciations are prime, okay? Mint. Saragi is mainly a striker and Yu is a grappler. So in this circumstance, I'm going to go the grappler. I just think he's going to have too much. His record slightly better as well. So $1.25. Again, it's fuck all. If you want to go submission, I'm not confident on that one, but hey, you got to make it juicier somehow, okay? This next one, flyweight division, women's flyweight division. We have, this one confused me, okay? Because I was looking at two different names from the UFC website to Sportsbet. And it turns out that, is it Adrian or, I think I need glasses. Yeah, it's Adrian. So Adrian Lipski, that I know her from, is now Adrian De Silva. So I'm assuming there was some sort of marriage or something since the last time I've seen her fight. I can only imagine. But she is versing China's Wang Kong. I think I picked Wang Kong last time purely based on her name, and I think we're going to go the same. But yeah, she is another up-and-coming Chinese fighter, strong grappling background from what I've seen, and I just think, unfortunately, she's going to have Lipski's number, or De Silva. Okay, sorry for misnaming you. So let's go Kong at $1.25. Again, absolutely nothing in that. Chaos. Then we go prelims. We've moved off the early prelims. We're going up to the prelims. Welterweight division kicks it all off. We've got Chaos Williams up against Uros Medic. Okay, now Williams 15-4. So he's on a bit of a knockout streak from what I saw. Medic is also a striker, but I have to go based on who I remember seeing fight in history. Okay, Chaos Williams stands out to me, but based on the little research I've done on this fight, I really think it's going to be a flip of a coin fight. Now, if there was any underdog I probably was going to pick on this card, it was going to be Medic. But for the sake of my reputation, but the first UFC breakdown I did, where I just came in here and I picked every dog, holy shit did I get ridiculed. So now I play it relatively safe. I've got to go Chaos Williams by KO because I think these two are just going to get in there and literally fucking bang for the fences, and it's just going to take one of them to clip the other. So I'm going Chaos at $1.59, but if you're feeling a little bit froggy, go Medic, $2.40. That is juicy. I should change on the fly, but we're locking it in. Now we go up to the big boys. We go heavyweight division. We got Sergey Spivak versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. I do not recall watching this Waldo. Why do I say Waldo? Where's Waldo? I don't recall watching any of his fights in the past, okay? But I do remember, I think his nickname's the Polar Bear, Sergey. So I think I'm going to go Sergey probably by submission. I'm feeling a sneaky submission in that one. I think he's probably going to go for the takedown early in the fight. Maybe keep it on the feet. Keep it on the feet first round, I think. Second round submission. There we go. That's my call now that I talk it out loud. So I'm going to go Sergey. But I didn't see that before. Ooh, his opponent is undefeated. Could I do another live change? How much is he paying? $2.08. Nah. I'm going to go Sergey by submission. I think the experience will be too much, but we'll see. I'm a little bit cautious about those last two picks. Then we go light heavyweight division. Fuck me, these names are testing me today, guys. Sit in your car and practice these names yourself and then go, fuck, James has done all right today. Hats off to him. Light heavyweight, we go Azamat Mirzakhanov versus Brenson Ribeiro. I think they just spelled Brendan wrong on his birth certificate, but anyway. Mirzakhanov is undefeated. And he's your typical, I don't know what country, but let's just throw a dart somewhere near Russia. Typical grappling style, undefeated. he's going to grind out this win, probably by decision. I would imagine he could get the sub potentially, but yeah, I'm going to go him at $1.21. Then we go last fight on the prelims. We go the flyweight bout. This guy, I was hyped on him the last time we spoke about him. We have Joshua Van up against Bruno Silva. Now, I'm a bit of a Joshua Van fan. I don't know why or how. He just seems to like what he's all about, you know? He's got a bit of everything as well. He's a bit of a striker. He's got a little bit of a grappling game. And Silva, I don't know. I, again, don't recall seeing this guy fight, but he's looking for the upset. I've got to go my boy Van at $1.20. Silver's paying $4.40, which is actually pretty insane. But again, much like Killian, I can't go past my favourites, okay? So I'm going Joshua Van. All right, let's kick off the main card. What we're all here for. We kick it off in the welterweight division. Kevin Holland, a UFC staple at the moment. Again, another one that blew up in UFC Fight Island during COVID. He is up against absolute veteran Vicente Luque. One of my favourite fighters to watch. I love seeing this bloke. He is now one of the older people in the UFC, and it is so good to see him get these wins every now and then over these young guys. And not like Kevin Holland is definitely not one of the young guys anymore, okay? He's getting up there in age, and I think realistically he's probably going to have to string together a couple of wins to, get back up there for title contention. But I think, like, this is another one I might change on the fly, but nah, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to go Kevin Holland. I think he's going to have to pull his finger out, really knuckle down, get a good win streak happening if he's going to be any chance of going for a title eventually in the UFC. And I just think Vicente Luque, his luck's got to run out at some point, and he's got to lay the gloves down in the cage. That could be it. That could be the retirement of this card if I had to guess one. Vicente loses. UFC plays the fucking package. Gloves go down. It's retirement time. So Kevin Holland, $1.47. If you want a little bit juicier, I would go decision. I feel like those two are just going to grind it out for the 15 minutes. Then we go into the bantamweight division. We have Patchy Mix, which is a fucking sick name, okay? And if my tip is based on names, we already know where I'm headed to, okay? So Patchy Mix versus Mario Batista, which that's actually a pretty cool name as well. Don't get me wrong. So Mix is a former Bellator champion who's now come across the UFC as well. We've seen a couple of these, and almost all of them have not had a great start to the UFC, okay? They've all pretty much suffered losses in the UFC. They've been in the Bellator spotlight. They thought they were up there with the best in the world, and they've come across to the big leagues, and they've found out what MMA is all about, okay? So, I don't know. Batista is, he's in the top 15, so he's half decent, but I've got to go Mix. I've got to go an ex-champion. He must have some idea of what he's doing in there. The UFC wouldn't have recruited him if he wasn't half decent. So he's only paying $1.55. I'm not going to tip a finish on that one because I'm not too familiar with his fighting style or anything like that. So that is that one. Then we go up to the middleweight division. We have Joe Pyfer versus Kelvin Gastelum. Again, two vets of the sport. These two are both getting up there in age, particularly Kelvin Gastelum. He has not looked the same since that Izzy Adesanya fight, where Izzy looked him in the eyes and said, "I'm prepared to die in here." Holy fuck, one of the best scenes in UFC history. I remember watching that fight on Izzy's come up, and I was like, oh my God, this guy is going to be a champion. I don't want to say I stood back and called the Israel Adesanya championship run, but hey, look at him now, okay? Oh, fuck. Message is coming through. Hopefully that's not coming through on the podcast. I've tried to turn notifications off for you guys. So we've got Pyfer. He's got a pretty good finishing rate. And Gastelum, he's not looking good at the moment in the UFC. Couple of losses. Like I said, he has not looked the same. I just cannot pick the bloke. So I'm going to go Pyfer at $1.23. Go the KO for extra juicy odds, okay? I think he's probably going to clip him, and it's going to be a sad day to be a Kelvin Gastelum fan. All All right. Then we go on to the co-main, women's bantamweight division, title on the line. I am keen as for this fight. We have Juliana Pena, who is the champion, up against Kayla Harrison. Now, I have been tooting the horn of Kayla Harrison since she made her UFC debut, okay? And I said, again, I'm not fucking a genius or anything like that. Everyone has said this, so I'm not breaking the mold. I said Kayla Harrison will be UFC champion within the matter of a couple of years. And here we go. Her big chance on Sunday, UFC 316, her first chance at UFC gold. Let's read off a couple of her accomplishments, okay? 2-time Olympic judo gold medalist, okay? 2-time gold medals in the Olympics. Insane. We have not seen that since Henry Cejudo in the UFC. She is 18-1 in MMA. One loss. Holy shit. A lot of people compare her to Ronda Rousey because of the whole judo thing, but she gets pretty shitty about that. So we will not do that here on the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. I'm pretty sure, was she Kayla Harrison? I'm pretty sure she was like PFL. I think she won the PFL competition a couple times, and then everyone was like, go to the UFC, go to the UFC. So she sort of had to make that jump. But Pena is... you can't write her off, okay? She beat Amanda Nunes for the title, which in itself is insane. Amanda Nunes, hands down, the best female fighter we have seen in the cage, okay? In saying that, did I ever really like her that much? Not too much, but you cannot take away from the woman how good she was in the cage. Just dissecting the greats. Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg, Holly Holm. Who else did she destroy? Everyone, okay? So it's, look, I'm going to go Kayla Harrison because of the fact that I've been tooting her horn for so long. I can't pick against her now that she's finally at this championship bout. She's knocking on the door. I would be an absolute cunt if I was to turn my back and go, nah, you're not getting the win. She's only paying $1.16, which is horrendous. So go Kayla Harrison by submission for juicier odds. In saying that, Juliana Pena at $5 is not a bad bet, okay? Do I think she's going to win? No. But, like I said, she's beaten the GOAT woman. She's beaten Amanda Nunes. Who is to say she cannot beat Kayla Harrison, okay? It could happen. And at $5 odds, it's worth the risk. But I got to go Kayla Harrison at $1.16. Unfortunately, those odds are absolutely dog shit, but what can you do? Main event. Here we go. The one, literally most people are just buying this card for this fight, okay? We have the rematch. We have Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean O'Malley. So Merab is defending his title second time since... second time? What the fuck? What have I written up there? Let's just ignore what the fuck I've written up there. But yeah, Merab, again, this was another dude on his come up where I was like, this dude is going to be champion at some stage. The fight is going down in New Jersey. He's a New York boy. He trains with Matt Serra, Ray Longo. I used to love that team, like listening to the UFC podcast. Shit like that. Those guys would be on there all the time. So he's one of their little students. Well, I shouldn't say little. Please don't come at me, Merab. But Sugar Sean, holy shit. When he became champion, he was the next exciting champion. We needed that in the UFC, and we're back to needing that again, okay? What champions at the moment are that brash, out there, shit-talking champion? Everyone is just like traditional martial artists, real fucking polite and shit. We just need Sugar Sean to come back. And Sugar Sean has actually taken a hiatus from this fight, okay? This is the first fight that I can remember anyway where he's come out and he's like, I've lost the whole Sugar persona for this fight. This fight is absolute business. He has stopped smoking weed. He has stopped flashing his car around. He's stopped using social media. He's stopped fucking everything. He is just knuckling down. He's like, this fight is the only thing I'm thinking about. So I would like to hope that Sugar Sean can get it done, but for betting terms, you've got to go Merab. He is an absolute beast of a human. He will grind it out for a full fight. So, yeah, Merab by decision, not a bad bet, but I'm going Merab just straight out at $1.28. But God, I want Sean O'Malley to win. I need it. I need it in my veins. But let's get to what we're all here for. The Can't Get Any Worse multi of the week, voted on by you guys on Instagram, the listeners. We have Killian at 89% of the votes. Here's the first pick of our multi. We're going Kayla Harrison with 62% of the votes. And we're going Sugar Sean O'Malley with 69% of the votes, which gives us a multi of $5.15, which it's not entirely unreasonable. A lot of our multis in the past have been astronomical numbers. Like, I think our last multi was like $27 or something like that. Don't quote me. Don't go back and fucking comment and be like, oh, it was only $3 or something. But yeah, as I mentioned at the start, this was our highest voted poll that we've done on Instagram. So I appreciate you guys jumping on there, sharing your picks with me. It's a bit of fun to get involved and get around the show. But other than that, guys, that has brought us to the end of our UFC 316 breakdown. I have a couple of comedy shows to plug at the end here. I have the Orion Hotel for West Park Comedy on the 20th of June. There is a handful of tickets left at the point of recording this. I think it's in its sort of 20 tickets left. Similar is Sonny's at Margate. We have that on June 21st, the day after. I would imagine that one is going to be sold out by the time this gets released. So if you're in the North Brisbane area and you want to come see me do some stand-up, check the tickets for that one. You might get lucky. There might be a couple left. Other than that, guys, send any submissions you have via DM on Instagram or by email at CantGetAnyWorsePod@gmail.com. Send me anything. Send me shit about the UFC. Send me feedback. Send me advice on how to make this bigger and better, you know? But other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you guys voting. And I just appreciate you guys getting around this stupid little pod that I'm trying to put together. But if I don't talk to you before the next UFC breakdown, I will see you later.
Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get